Recently, I noticed the community has quite a bit of negative sentiment against the Bretonnians, most likely because of their Grail Cavalry when supported by healing can be extremely powerful. So instead of playing the game in the meta way, I decided to explore some new possibilities for the Bretonnian faction, and here, we are playing the game without Grail Cavalry or healing spells. Instead, we are using a combo of the Damsel of Heavens, the Curse of Midnight Wind providing a minus 30 armor debuff and minus 24 melee attack debuff, stacking it on top of King Luanlingke's Sword of Corone. That is another minus 30 armor debuff and minus 24 melee defense debuff. Basically, an area of effect enfeebling foe plus a minus 60 armor, basically an equivalent to an area of effect Plague of Rust. So let's see how we are playing this game here. Noticing that we have so much armor debuff, we can field a lot of non-armor piercing but very cost efficient mobility, Knights of the Realm and Knight Errant. In total 7 cavalry unit, 3 of them the Knight Errant and 4 of them Knights of the Realms. And in the front line, we have a ton of peasant infantry, a line of peasant mobs supported by a second line of battle pilgrims flanked by men-at-arms with shields. Now, on the other side of the battlefield, we have the greenskins here, using their signature vanguard light cavalry, death creepers, and the Morgrove's Manji marauders, and on the flanks, night goblins, squick hoppers for a little bit of armor piercing, and then a bunch of orc boy biggins for armor piercing and anti-large. For the infantry formation, we have a front line of night goblins supported by 1 orc air boys, and at the back there, 2 stone trolls and 1 single squick herd. Leading the army, we have Azak the Slaughterer coming in with Spirit Leech and Soul Blight. That's it for the army build. Now let's get the battle started and see how this Bretonnian debuff combo works in practice. Without any missile assets, this Bretonnian army is all about rushing, so I'll be pushing forward my peasant infantry and on the flanks the knights. However, I do have to be careful with the Knight Errant and Knights of the Realm because my opponent here, the Broken Tusk mobs and other orc boy biggins, do have the armor to mitigate my charge impact, while they themselves having anti-large and armor piercing can trade into my knights army pretty well. So if I can get the debuff stacked onto these orc boy biggins, this will be very good for me, reversing the trade cost efficiency, making the Knight of the Realm punch way better into the orc boy biggins. Anyways, the peasant mobs in the front line are taking some shot from the greenskin skirmishers, including the orc arrow boys, which is fine because they're peasants. Their job is just to use their face to absorb all the missiles from their opponents, allowing my knights to do the heavy lifting. King Luan would be pushing forward now, seeing that the orc boy biggins are a little bit out of position, dropping down to catch the Broken Tusk mobs, allowing my Knights of the Realm and Knights Errant to catch up to the orc boy biggins and do some nice charge impact damage. On the side here, Knights Errant a little bit lapse in micro, and the orc boy biggins will have a very good charge against them. My cavalry at the back are waiting to be activated as I was busy microing units elsewhere. Now in the front line, things are not going too well as the peasant mobs are completely crumbling to the charge from the night goblins, the stone trolls, and the night goblin squig hoppers, while over here I'm trying to get some debuffs onto these orc boy biggins. The Broken Tusk mob being hit by the Curse of Midnight Wind but being counteracted by Azak's art armor, and wow, they are actually punching back against my Knights of the Realm pretty nicely, while over here the orc boy biggins being hit by Sword of Corone for a bit from King Luanlingke, took some damage from the Knight Errant, but as soon as the debuff wears off, they are now cutting down the Knight Errant pretty cost efficiently. Azak trying to support the Broken Tusk mob in this fight, while my Knights of the Realm trying to pull back some of them so that they can do some more cycle charging. Eventually, the Broken Tusk mob will be whittled down, but the Azak's hard armor has been keeping them alive for way longer than they're supposed to be. Unfortunately for me, the infantry fight is pretty much lost as all the peasants are fleeing for their lives, leaving only the battle pilgrims still holding in battle. So I'll be relying on the knights to really win out in this fight. A Spirit Leech on King Luanlingke, but I have activated the Lion's Shield to mitigate that spell damage, while King Luan will be rear charging these orc boy biggins, doing some nice charge damage, and will be hacking them down with the armor piercing. And the Broken Tusk mob running low on numbers and HP, it will also be cleaned up by my Knights of the Realm. Another one has been activated, trying to boost the damage output of the greenskin army, but most of the greenskins are not actually engaging in proper melee combat. Probably should have waited a bit until the stone trolls are actually engaging the knights so that they can use this damage boost to really smash my cavalry, but alas, this is a bit too late now as the war has worn off before the stone trolls could fight anything. Another Curse of Midnight win here, reducing the attack stats of the greenskin units, just trying to reduce their damage output and help my peasants survive a little longer, while I'll be trying to clean up all the scattered mobility of the greenskin army. I still have some Knights of the Realm held in reserve. They took some damage probably from some cheeky cycle charging, but overall I do think I have the mobility advantage here. King Luon will be dropping down trying to hunt down Azak, but he will also be subjected to the missile fire from the greenskin light cavalry, and on top of that, stone trolls are here to screen out my lord to save Azak. Now, being surrounded by stone trolls might be a tricky scenario. The armor piercing and massive weapon strength of the stone trolls can do some pretty good damage against King Luon, but I do have some debuff combos in my back pocket. Another stone troll is coming in, so King Luon is activating his ability Stand Your Ground to keep King Luon holding, and at the same time dropping those debuff combos, Curse of Midnight Wind and Sword of Corone. If we slow down the battle here, we can see that the stone trolls are now down to 10 armor. Normally their hard skin will help them tank out some damage, but this is not the case. Down to 20 melee attack, 8 melee defense, they're taking way more damage from surrounding units. You can see that Knights of the Realm are charging in, and that charge impact damage would be doing full damage, almost full damage at least, to the stone trolls down to only 10 armor. Of course, there is still Azak and his art armor providing that plus 30 armor and plus 24 melee defense, just like what he's doing right now, but this might just not be enough. The stone trolls are taking so much shock damage from the cavalry charge, their regeneration simply cannot keep up with the losses. These stone trolls are still fighting and are not taking as much damage because they didn't get rear charged by enemy Knights of the Realm. However, they'll still be slowly whittled down by a superior number of peasant infantry and knights. The greenskins are trying to stay in the fight by debuffing my army with Soul Blight and using Azak's art armor to keep the units alive. However, these effects will eventually wear off and would not be able to turn the tide. You can see that the Bretonnian knights are cleaning up the rest of the routed knight goblins. There are some death creepers and Morgoth's Mangy Marauders being pushed back by the Knights of the Realm, getting some solid value, 1000 gold damage value, definitely earning back their worth and then some more. Now in the front line here, a little bit of Wind Blast to thin out the remaining Night Goblin support so that my Knights of the Realm can surround these stone trolls a little bit more efficiently. Battle Pilgrims have been routed, but that's fine because I already outnumber and is slowly overwhelming the stone trolls, especially King Luon still being so healthy right now, almost full health. Whatever damage he has taken throughout the battle has been completely mitigated by his self-healing. Curse of Midnight Wind once again reduced the melee stats and armor of the stone trolls down to 40 armor. They're taking a little bit more damage from the surrounding poke of the Knights of the Realm and King Luon just hunting them down. They're subjected to the terror of Biki, now being chased off by the Damsel of Heavens here. The damsel is still pretty healthy. She took a couple spirit leeches over the game, but that's fine because she is on a unicorn and that gives her 40% of spell resistance, making the spirit leech pretty much just a tickle on her health bar. If anything, Azak's melee attacks would put a bit more hurt onto the Bretonnian caster, but here comes King Luon to protect the lady, and the Greenskin Lord would not be enjoying this pitched engagement at all with his dwindling HP bar. At this point, the Greenskins pretty much have nothing left to pull back this game. Azak is being surrounded by Battle Pilgrims and Knights of the Realm, Biki tearing apart Azak's Wyvern Mount. So we can just fast forward here as the Knights of the Realm shatters the Stone Trolls, Army Losses is hit, and the Bretonnian army will be emerging victorious. A great use for this debuff combo of Sword of Corone and Curse of Midnight Wind is on enemy cavalry so that the Knights of the Realm can punch way above their weight class. Take these Dragon Princes for example, normally with heavy armor and physical resistance and high melee stats, they are quite comfortable tanking a charge from the Knights of the Realm. But this time with their armor down to 50 and melee attack and defense down to 20 each, all they can rely on is their physical resistance against the anti-large and charge bonus of the Knights of the Realm, and they're taking massive shock damage. The Knights of the Realm are still at half HP while the Dragon Princes down to the last quarter of their health. You can see how much more cost efficient can the Mortal Knights trade against enemies if they get the right debuff support. If King Luon was on Biki and was fighting among his men, then these Dragon Princes would have surely been routed by now. Now this combo isn't just applicable to Knights of the Realm, it actually has synergy with other units on the Bretonnian roster as well. Take the Peasant Bowman for example, they're a great cost efficient missile, just that they don't have the most armor piercing. Against armored monsters, for example the War Mammoth here with 70 armor, a lot of their missile damage will be mitigated. However, with the Sword of Corone and Curse of Midnight Wind debuffing the War Mammoth's armor by a total of -60, it is now at a meager 10 armor and taking way more damage from the Peasant Bows. Their damage value is quickly climbing while the War Mammoth's HP is dipping hard with each volley. All thanks to the armor debuff combo, the Peasant Bowmen were able to shred through the War Mammoth's massive HP pool, rack up quite a bit of value and eliminate the massive War Beast. Of course, there are other non-armor piercing units that can synergize with this armor debuff combo, for example the two types of Pegasus Knights, the Battle Pilgrims and Knight Errant. Of course, when we are covering an army build, we must also cover its weaknesses. For this army build, the biggest, most obvious flaw is that we don't have the punch of the Grail Knights. Grail Cavalry is not only better at doing damage, but also a lot tankier than the Mortal Knights, with heavy armor, elite melee stats, and the Blessing of the Lady boosting their damage resistance. The Mortal Knights don't have that kind of privileges, so in a straight up melee grind, for example when the Bretonnians try to fight against box builds, the Mortal Knights would struggle to punch through enemy defenses while they themselves would get easily grind down. On top of that, because we're bringing the Lord of Heavens, that means we don't have access to any healing for our cavalry. While Grail Cavalry can tank damage and easily heal back up with the help of Regrowth or Earth Blood, these Knights of the Realm and Knights Errant, once they made a mistake and take losses, that is permanent, unable to recover any losses. This makes microing the cavalry a riskier task, though it does resemble a bit of the Bretonnian before the Grail Knights buffs, prompting the player to put more attention and focus on their knights. Before we wrap up this video, let's have a look at the army performances here, with my peasant infantry all being ran over by a combination of goblins and greenskin monsters. There is not much they can do in this fight, and the carrying was left to the knight. The Knights of the Realm all got some very solid value, earning back their cost here, all getting over 1,200 gold worth of damage value. The debuffs from King Luon and the Heaven Damsel allowed them to trade a lot better into pretty much anything, including the Orc Boy Biggins, the Stone Trolls, and of course Azak the Slaughterer himself, getting that kind of cost-efficient trade and maximizing the charge impact damage. King Luon also did some very solid job using his regenerating ability, the Lady's Blessing, the Lady's Champion, to recover all the damage from the greenskins, especially from the Spirit Leech. The direct spell damage was not that effective on my army here because the Damsel has 40% of spell resistance, while King Luon can activate the Lion's Shield to combo with his Blessing of the Lady for a total of 55% resistance against spell damage. The Knights Errant though only did some minor damage as they're just apprentices of the Knights. For the green skins, we have a bunch of Night Goblins not doing that much damage. Stone Trolls did slightly better, but they're overpowered by the sheer numbers and anti-large of the Knights of the Realm, especially when their armor, their only protection, got debuffed. The Squig Hurt and the Squig Hoppers didn't do... Oh wow, okay. The Squig Hoppers actually did some pretty solid damage running over my infantry, but against the Knights, they were not quite able to carry their weight. Same goes for the Orc Boy Biggins here, unable to trade well into my cavalry due to all the debuffs available to my army. The Skirmishing Cavalry also got some very limited damage value. Same goes for Azak, as his main way of hurting enemy characters, the Spirit Leech, is basically countered by both of my characters. And there you have it, a simple debuff combo from the Bretonnians, boosting the performance of the Mortal Knights. A combination of melee stats and armor debuffs allows the Bretonnians to do more damage with their lower tier troops, basically allowing the Bretonnians to play the game in a different style, no longer needing to rely on the Grail Cavalry. Of course, Grail Knights and healing is still very strong, but if you want to challenge yourself and play Bretonnian in a more traditional way, this is a build that you would like. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you all enjoy the combat action and this wild army build, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.